Hi, this is Courtney with GrayLaw TV, and today I'm going to do a really short, simple, sweet video for you about how to enter the United States on your non-immigrant visa right now. We want to thank all of you for watching and liking and subscribing. If you haven't clicked the notification button already, I think it's a little bell. If you haven't clicked that button already, please click it because it lets you know exactly when our videos are coming out. And during the premieres, Umberto and I always live chat. So you can ask questions and get an answer from us like on the spot. And if you, for any reason, miss the premiere, you can always post questions, suggestions for future videos in the comment section because we try to go through and read all of those and answer as many of those questions as possible. We also have a new, relatively new frequently asked questions section. So if you have a question on your mind, sometimes we get the same questions over and over again. You know, folks going through this experience have the same sort of issues and problems over and over again. So we've tried to compile all of those questions and put them in one place for you so you can go look there and get an answer right away. The consulates, they are not up and running at full capacity. They're doing appointments by, emergency only and only for certain types of green cards, for example, the spouses of and children of US citizens. And they're also doing certain non-immigrant, that's the temporary visa category. So they're also doing certain non-immigrant visa processing, such as F-1 student visas or M visas or L-1 temporary business visas. So they're doing sort of limited visa processing right now and processing on an emergency basis. So where does this leave you, right? If you are someone who has an approved visa or an approved status from USCIS, you have your O visa or something of that nature, a temporary work visa, and you want to come to the United States, but there's this presidential proclamation and there's bans on certain areas. There's a ban on the Schengen area, which is most of Europe, the UK, Ireland. There's a ban on Brazil, on Iran, on China. So if you have an approved visa and you're not one of these exceptions like the H-1B, the L, the F-1, or the M-1, or even if you are one of those exceptions, but you're having a really hard time getting an appointment, this video is for you. I'm going to tell you exactly how you can get what's called a national interest exemption, which will allow you to enter the United States even if one of those presidential proclamations affects you or the region where you live. I'm going to walk you through step by step. There are 5 steps I'm going to walk you through. Make sure you listen to all of them, okay? Because they're all equally important, okay? Exactly how to apply for a national interest exemption. So the first step is to go to the consular website for the consulate that's going to be processing you. This is typically the consulate that's the US consulate that's closest to where you live. Pre-COVID, there were times where we would send clients from all over the world to get processed in Barbados because why not? Or in Mexico, they would attach a vacation and it's sort of nearby and they would get processed there and then come on in. They're not really doing that anymore, okay? It really has to be your local jurisdiction, okay? So go to that website and read exactly what they're saying about the national interest exemption to get an idea of sort of what they're looking for, because every consulate is a little bit different, but by and large, they're the same. And so I'll talk you through all the ways in which they're the same. But go on that website and take a look at exactly how they want you to communicate with them. That's the key there, right? Some of them have an online form and you'll submit your national interest exemption application or request through that portal, or they'll give you an email address, or they'll say, call this number, right? So get an idea for exactly how they want you to communicate with them. That's the first step. Step 2, in your portal, in your message, in the portal, in your phone call, in email, tell them that you would like a national interest exemption. Tell them that you're requesting a national interest exemption and tell them why. There are a limited number of reasons why you can get a national interest exemption, but listen, because it applies to a broad group of people. The first reason would be for a medical emergency for you or for your child, okay? So you're entering the United States to get medical treatment. This would require a letter from a physician, right? Stating that they are your treating physician, this is your diagnosis, and that you require XYZ treatment. That treatment is not available in your home country, and that you need to enter the United States to get that treatment, or there's this negative prognosis or thing that may happen if you don't receive the treatment. The second reason is the illness, the accident, or the death of a family member, okay, in the United States, and you need to enter because that person is gravely ill, that person's been in an accident, or that person has passed away. Similarly, if this is your case, I'm very sorry. Similarly, you would need a physician letter, right? Attesting to all of that, or you would need a death certificate as evidence that this exemption applies to you. So if you are an F, an M, or a J, and you haven't been able to get an appointment, or your appointment's way out in the future, it's way past the time that you're supposed to start school, or, you know, whatever you're coming in to do, you can also use the national interest exemption form to let them know that, hey, you know, I'm exempt, I'm an F. I tried to make an appointment. They've booked it for August of 2021 because that's the date that we've been seeing lately, like in London, you know, you go on to make an appointment and they tell you your appointment date is in August of 2021, which is well beyond the time that your school starts or your employment starts or whatever's happening. So you can let them know that, and they'll typically bump up your date. Okay. So you would give them your CVIS with your start date or whatever you have showing your start date, and they would bump up that date for you. The next reason is an unexpected cultural event, sports event, political event, something of that nature that's happening in the United States that you need to travel in for. Okay, so it can be a meeting, it can be an interview, you're a sports photographer, you're an athlete, you're a business manager, a business person who's coming in, you're coming in to interview Kamala Harris at the inauguration. So I'll take a deep breath for that one because things are about to get much better in the immigration world because of the administration change. So if you're coming in from one of those reasons, right, if you're coming in for some sort of event, you can make a national interest exemption request on that basis, providing proof of the event, that you're scheduled to be here for the event, why, that sort of thing. Typically a letter from your employer, etc. would help with that. Now, the last one is the one that I use most frequently. It is requesting a national interest exemption for an urgent business necessity. Okay, so you have your L visa, you have your O1, and you're scheduled to start work, right? But you can't come in. Now, saying I need to start work is not sufficient. You have to give them more than that. It's urgent that you start work. You have these meetings, these goals, all of these things to meet, and a letter should be issued from your employer on letterhead from sort of a higher up executive or hiring authority within your within the company, stating that you need to enter on a date certain. It should say the actual date. That date, and this is true with all of this, should be within a couple of weeks, right? It should be within 2 to 3 weeks. They require that it's urgent. So stating the date, stating what meetings you have with whom, where, and when, right? Why this is very important. Perhaps they've invested a lot of resources into preparing for your position. Perhaps they've assembled a staff. And here's the key, that if you do not if you are unable to travel, if you are unable to appear, if you're unable to attend these meetings, these appointments, if you're unable to commence employment and be at these meetings on this specific date, the company will suffer a substantial financial loss and include a number, okay? An estimated loss of, the bigger the number, the better. Calculate what all those clients meetings mean, what they turn into, and put a dollar amount on it, an estimated dollar amount, and include that in your letter. So for me, it would be, a letter from Umberto, right? Stating that I need to be in the United States on December 28th because I have client interviews, because I have appearances at USCIS. If I don't appear for those meetings, if I'm not able to attend, the firm will suffer a substantial financial loss of X amount of dollars, right? And it should be on Umberto Gray's letterhead and signed by Umberto Gray. So here's step number 3. Step number 3 is to make the initial contact with the consulate, okay? Complete that online form, make that phone call, send that email, okay? And it should be short and sweet and to the point, okay? Very simple. The more simple, the better, because you're gonna, if it's an email, you're going to attach, right? Your employer letter or the physician's letter, right? So that's really gonna tell them everything they need to know. All you need to put in that first contact, and I've written it here for myself. My name is Courtney Morgan-Greene. I have an approved O1 visa, and my employer requires that I attend urgent business meetings in the United States beginning December 22nd. Please see the urgent business necessity letter from my employer attached. This letter should be dated now, right? And the date that you need to come in really should be close to now. What they want to see is there is an emergency. There's a reason they need to give you an appointment next week. And you can ask that in your, is it possible to get an appointment at the consulate next week so that I can enter on this urgent matter, okay? And it should just be 4 or 5 sentences. They are going through hundreds and thousands, so many of these requests, right? And so you want yours to be short and simple and to the point. And you want to attach, if you can, if it's an email, for example, you want to attach your passport, your approval notice, and the evidence, the physician letter, the employer letter, right? That you urgently need to travel so that they can easily see that you are qualified and they can send you to the next step. Step 4, keep an eye on your email because they will typically respond. They're responding quickly. I've been getting responses within 24 to 48 hours from the consulate, okay? And in their response, they'll let you know exactly what they need you to do in order to give this to you. Okay. I had one that was, I don't think this qualifies. It would qualify if you gave me X, Y, and Z though, right? So they're trying to help. And they'll let you know exactly what you need to do in order to get qualified for the national interest exemption. So they'll send you an email stating, thank you for your submission. It looks like you may qualify. Please send, if you send it through the portal, that's when they'll via the email, you'll then be able to reply to them and send those attachments if you weren't able to initially. So you'll send them, all of the evidence that they ask for. Some consulates, I had one, that asked me 2 or 3 questions. I had another that sent me pages of a questionnaire that I needed to answer, right? So they're all different, and that's fine. They're doing their best. We're doing our best. Get everything together, put it all in the email, and send it to them. And do it as quickly as possible. The longer you wait, right, the more they think, well, maybe this isn't an emergency. Because I got back to them in 24 hours and now it's been 3 or 4 days and I haven't heard from them and they might put you lower on the list. So be ready to strike while the iron's hot and get them everything that they need all at once, okay? And it's usually information that you have. So you don't need to worry too much about that. They just want it sort of formatted in a way that's easy for them to input into their system, easy for them to understand. If they're satisfied with what you sent them, they'll send you another email saying, okay, go ahead, complete the DS 160, complete or pay the MRV fee, and schedule an appointment. Some of them will have you schedule an appointment, others won't, right? Whatever they want, just do whatever they want. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Go on, do that DS 160. It takes sometimes an hour or 2. Just sit down and do it. Complete it. When you submit it, it'll give you a confirmation page. Print that out. You're going to need that. That's very important. When you pay the MRV fee, they'll give you a receipt. Print that out. You're going to need that. And if you schedule an appointment, they'll give you an appointment confirmation. Print that out as well. Make sure that you have that. And typically in that email, they'll say, complete those instructions and then email us back when you're done. Some other consulates, they'll just see, they're tracking you, they'll see when you did it. But typically they'll want you to send them a heads up that you completed it. So when you're done, send them that heads up. I typically send the DS 160 confirmation, the MRV confirmation, and the appointment confirmation if they asked for it. I send that to them, okay? And know that appointment is gonna be way out. They'll bump it up for you. That's not the end That's not the end goal, the end appointment, the end date, right? Step 5 is that the consulate will send you an email notifying you that your national interest exemption has been approved. Some consulates will just give you a date and time to show up. Others will, smaller consulates, they'll say, what date and time is good for you. We've had that happen. So when they approve the NIE and they let you know when your appointment is and what time to show up, they'll provide you with a list of instructions of exactly what they want you to bring to the appointment. Make sure you do that and bring that DS-160 confirmation page and the MRV page. If you have an employer letter or physician letter, bring that as well, okay? Even if it's not on that list, just in case. But make sure you have everything there. Make sure that you show up on the right day. Make sure that you are on time. We want to make this as easy for them to approve as possible. And as always in an interview with an officer, be calm, be personable, be kind, be organized, have everything at the ready. The first thing they're going to ask you for is your passport, most likely. So have that ready. And when they say, may I see your passport? Give it to them and also talk, respond. You'd be surprised how many people just, get a little, it's scary in there, right? I mean, it's your life that's on the line and your dreams. So I understand. But if you're at this point and you're in the door, most likely they're going to approve you unless something goes really wrong. So walk in with confidence, okay? Because you got this. And if you're yourself and you hand them your passport and say, hey, how you doing? Here's my passport, or here it is, or, short, sweet, to the point, kind, personable, cool, calm, collected. You got it. You're going to be great. That's how you enter the United States right now, even if you are in a travel banned area. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching GrayLaw TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe.